Imagine I didn't actually have such an item, but my legs were tired and I wanted to be able to sit down. So I'd have to make something like a chair. So in order to do that, I would look at my physical measurements. For that chair would need to fit my dimensions, so therefore it would be based on my physical structure. Now moving on to a much bigger picture with this whole idea of basing on things that you have, things that you're familiar with. Imagine you have the ability, I would say, that would make the dimensions and the mathematics that are shown in the Great Pyramid of Giza to be sort of child's play in comparison. Imagine if you could create a computer game, something like a virtual reality headset, so you can actually go into that game. Maybe that game is to test out everything else you've created, but you don't want any damage or potential damage from testing out that creation to spill out and get totally out of hand. Imagine, if you will, that you've even built into this game, you've made it to such a point that you've made it virtually impossible to get out of, but not impossible to get out of. So imagine making it so virtually impossible that you become stuck in that game. And in your unlimited abilities, that what you can put into this game that you've created, you've actually created like a nemesis, a child that turns against its parent. Something maybe like a computer that becomes partially self-aware. Imagine also that your technical and scientific abilities are so great. And remember, it's only a game. You're in this virtual game. So you can even tinker with the natural programs. You can replace childbirth with cloning, for example. Now, to make this game more interesting, you'll also have background characters. But imagine, well, don't even imagine, you won't find them on Google Images, but if you know of anybody that's got a 3D ultrasound, just look at a 3 to 4 month old fetus. Now again, imagine that that thing still grows but doesn't really change. It doesn't physically develop. It hasn't got maybe the aging. It's took that part, the time element, out of it, so it stays the same but just bigger, maybe slightly less pigmentation, and certainly no body hair on it, because that will come later. So you're in this game and you can still do so much in this game. Now imagine, you don't have to imagine. Generally speaking, it seems that a lot of people have this have and have not mentality, mindset, and they desire what they have not, which somebody else may have. So if you have the ability to play out this computer program, and some of them or maybe using something that's within the game itself and putting part of yourself into it. You create a sort of hybrid of yourself. You create something in your own image, you could say, that's roughly the same body plan and has part of the computer program, natural simulation, shall we call it, and part of it is this sort of other level that the ones that have become trapped in here have sort of managed to synthesize out of themselves, or perhaps by knowing that it is just a game. Things like compassion and doing things from the heart, for example, would be seen from a different perspective if you know it's only a game. So, in this game, you've now got a resource you can use to test out things. Now imagine, and that's the key word, as you notice I keep saying imagine, imagine. Creativity is imagination. What if the whole game is a huge filter and you have the ability to put things out to pretty much everyone, but you can sell it in different ways and give different perspectives on the same thing, because you're maximizing your chances of finding specific individuals that this very logical program cannot pick up, which is imagination. So imagine there are certain individuals who can look at certain events in history and work out numeric codes, can tie it into astrology, can look at many other things and show how these things link together and possibly what their purpose is for. Would you not say that the originators that fell into this virtual reality, that would be something that they would want, that would be something they would be trying to bring forth within that game? So when you consider the entire media, what is known as the mainstream media, the social media, and keep in mind that some things are censored and yet other things are not. Some things are still allowed to trickle out to certain realms or certain mindsets to look at, which will seem to be in total contradiction to what another group or mindset is going to get. And through the weaving out of all that, you may be sitting back and watching and looking for what results are going to come from that. It may be that the tinkering within the diagnostic and being trapped in it has made for a very desperate situation of an extinction. So you'd want a rebellion against that extinction. And you could also play it out in the game, in an external vaccine, along with so many other things. And you could see what various minds are going to come up with it from out of this. And maybe there may be a solution to the game, or a shortcut. Like in a computer game, there are what is known as cheats that you can buy. But that's not really playing the game. That's not using skills or imagination. Imagination is, after all, your greatest skill. It's gut feeling. It's tied very much into the organic. It's just a few thoughts. Thou art, thought, think, thin, king. Thy in, king. An in is twice in thin, king. wordplay, I know, but again, words are a series of letters. They create spells. It still puts out something in a vibration, especially when it is broadcast by being spoken. It is broadcast and putting a vibration out into what looks very much to be like a computer game, a diagnostic zone. It's actually quite fun, I think. Certainly as a thought exercise, if nothing else. But I'll leave that to you. Make of it what you will. What is this all really about? And I don't just mean the video, I mean the subject matter. What is the purpose of all of this, really? There's various takes on this. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just giving a perspective, just based on hunches, on feelings, on looking at multiple things, weighing things up, the heart against the feather, as it were. Seeing what is generated from the data that is amassed. Data is anything really that you're taking in through the eyes and through the ears in this realm, after all. Right, 11:44. That's a good time to stop, so I will say ta-ta for now, and I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful day, night, wherever and wherever you are in this realm. Ta-ta for now.